Howard Caldwell, a prosperous man in his late 70s, found himself isolated in his gleaming silver Mercedes, his thumb rhythmically drumming against the steering wheel, a clear sign of his growing impatience. The air conditioner buzzed softly, struggling to fend off the relentless Kentucky heat. Having retired and amassed wealth from a successful career in finance, Howard had grown accustomed to the world bending to his will. But that day he found himself utterly stranded with a flat tire, miles away from the warm embrace of his pristine mansion on the outskirts of town. After several frustrating attempts to reach roadside assistance, he let out a heavy sigh, feeling a wave of resignation wash over him as he accepted the reality that he would have to wait. Just as he began to sense a wave of frustration rising within him, he caught sight of a figure approaching him along the road. A young boy, perhaps around 13 or 14, clad in a faded t-shirt and scuffed sneakers, approached, with an unwavering determination etched on his face. Howard observed the boy's eyes narrowing with intensity, scrutinizing the car before offering Howard a subtle yet assured nod. "Have you encountered a flat tire, sir?" the boy asked, his voice filled with determination. Yes, I do," Howard replied, his heart racing with a tumultuous blend of relief and unease. "I was really counting on some assistance, but my phone is completely without signal out here." The boy offered a small, tender smile. "I can help with that," he said, kneeling beside the tire with unwavering determination. "Last summer my grandpa shared with me the invaluable skill of changing a tire. Could you possibly lend me a spare?" Howard pointed toward the trunk, his heart racing as he observed the boy eagerly opening it and retrieving the essential tools. The young boy worked with a fervor, his hands dancing with a quiet confidence that felt almost otherworldly for someone so young. As Howard stood there, a profound sense of humility washed over him, an emotion he hadn't experienced in what felt like an eternity. He yearned to give the boy something in return, but the young man barely lifted his gaze, completely absorbed in the task before him. After a few intense moments, the boy completed his task, wiping his hands on his jeans with a sense of relief and stepping back, taking it all in. "All done," he said with a quiet confidence, a small, satisfied smile gracing his lips. With a trembling hand, Howard delved into his wallet, retrieving a handful of bills, and extended them toward the boy with a mix of hope and urgency. "Please, take this. Your assistance holds immense value for me, and I am deeply grateful for it." Yet the boy hesitated, stepping back and lifting his hand with a courteous gesture. "I truly appreciate your kindness, sir, but I must insist that I don't require anything at this moment. I'm truly delighted to be of assistance." In utter disbelief, Howard remained frozen in place, money clutched tightly in his hand, as he witnessed the boy slowly turn and walk away down the road. The interaction had left him profoundly touched, though he couldn't quite grasp the reason behind it. Now alone, he quietly returned the money to his wallet and climbed into his car, his gaze fixed on the rearview mirror as the boy's silhouette faded away, becoming a mere memory in the distance. Throughout the remainder of his drive, Howard found his mind irresistibly drawn back to the boy, each thought stirring a deeper sense of reflection. There was a profound dignity about him, a self-assurance that radiated not from wealth or privilege, but from a wellspring of something far deeper. That night, as he sat alone in his lavish home, Howard was haunted by the image of the boy walking away, his face illuminated by nothing but a smile. That evening, Howard found himself nestled in the leather armchair of his study, enveloped by the towering shelves of books that seemed to whisper stories he seldom dared to explore. The room was enveloped in a profound stillness, broken only by the gentle, rhythmic ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner, each tick resonating with a sense of time's passage. His dinner, a beautifully crafted steak and vibrant asparagus, lay abandoned on the side table, a silent testament to the moment's weight. His mind was consumed with thoughts of the boy, an unshakable presence that lingered in his heart. Howard had crossed paths with countless individuals throughout his life, business partners, employees, and investors. Many interactions were deeply rooted in negotiations, heartfelt favors, and intricate deals. There was perpetually a profound exchange, a cost to bear, or an expectation looming in the air. But this boy, this unfamiliar soul, had offered his assistance purely out of his heart. He reclined, savoring each sip of his scotch. The vivid memory of the boy's radiant smile filled his thoughts, overflowing with warmth and assurance. Howard couldn't shake the feeling that this man seemed to possess so little. The tattered shoes, the weathered garments, the grime on his hands, it all whispered a tale of resilience. And yet the boy carried himself with a profound integrity that felt so incredibly rare in today's world. The following morning, Howard felt an overwhelming pull to seek out the boy. He couldn't quite grasp the reason, yet a deep, unsettling feeling within him whispered of incompleteness. Perhaps it was a deep sense of guilt, an overwhelming wave of gratitude, or simply an insatiable curiosity that stirred within. Whatever it was, he was overcome with an overwhelming urge to drive along that same stretch of road, his heart pounding as he scanned the horizon, desperately searching for any sign of the boy. Time dragged on as he pulled into gas stations and quaint diners, desperately seeking anyone willing to lend an ear, pleading for information about a young boy matching the description. Most people merely shrugged or shook their heads in disbelief, but then, at last, an older woman behind the counter at a quaint little cafe found her voice and spoke up. "It seems you're referring to Mason," she remarked, her hands busy wiping the flour from her apron. "That boy possesses a generous heart, consistently providing assistance to those in need in our community. He resides with his mother in Harlan." "Harlan?" Howard repeated, his mind racing with thoughts. "Thank you." The town of Harlan lay an hour away, cradled in the embrace of the Appalachian foothills. The drive was undeniably scenic, yet Howard's gaze drifted past the beauty, his mind a whirlwind of questions. What kind of life did this boy endure? What kind of family could have shaped someone like him? When he stepped into Harlan, the streets were eerily silent, flanked by humble homes and quaint shops. After asking a few locals about Mason, he eventually found a small house on the outskirts of town. The house, though weathered, was kept neat, with a front porch that sagged ever so slightly, as if burdened by the weight of its own history. Howard parked his car, his heart racing as he hesitated for a moment, grappling with the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in his mind about what he might say. Gathering his courage, he took a deep breath and knocked on the door. It swung open moments later, unveiling a woman in her early 40s who warmly introduced herself as Emma Jean Tucker. She appeared weary yet warm, her eyes keen and inquisitive as she assessed him. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Good morning," Howard said, his voice slightly trembling as he cleared his throat. "I hope it's not too much trouble, but I think I had the pleasure of meeting your son yesterday. Mason, is that you? He came to my rescue with a flat tire." Her expression transformed in an instant. "That truly resonates with my Mason," she said, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "He's always there for others." "I just needed to show my gratitude," Howard said. "He wouldn't have taken anything from me yesterday." She nodded, stepping aside to welcome him in. "He's out back." "You're welcome to wait." Howard stepped inside, his heart swelling as he took in the modest surroundings. The furniture, though old, radiated a warmth and care that made the space feel alive. The walls, adorned with family photos and a few hand-drawn pictures that seemed to echo the yet something about this space radiated warmth, pulsing with life. He trailed after her into the backyard where Mason was diligently mending the fence. The boy glanced up, his expression shifting to one of surprise at the sight of Howard. "Hey, mister," Mason exclaimed, eagerly wiping his hands on his jeans. "What were you doing here?" Howard smiled, a flutter of nerves dancing in his chest. "I wanted to thank you once more. Your support came at a time when I truly needed it, and it meant the world to me." "I just couldn't shake it off," Mason said, a hint of vulnerability in his voice, his expression warm and sincere. It really wasn't a big deal. Yet for Howard it was everything, and he was resolute in his mission to demonstrate it. Mason leaned against the fence, his eyes filled with wonder as he watched Howard intently. In that fleeting moment, silence enveloped them, and neither dared to break it. The boy's serene demeanor stirred a sense of unease in Howard, making him feel as if he were the one under scrutiny. "I don't think you truly understand the significance of what just happened," Howard finally said, shattering the silence. "It's rare for people to lend a hand to strangers without expecting something in return." Mason tilted his head slightly, as if bewildered by the remark. "I don't see it that way," he replied, his voice filled with conviction. "If someone is in need and I have the ability to assist, why would I hold back?" Howard was deeply moved by the sheer clarity of the boy's reasoning. He gazed beyond Mason, his eyes drifting to the yard. The fence stood, a patchwork of mismatched wood, each piece telling a story of its own. The grass is patchy and uneven, struggling to thrive. Behind the house, an old swing set stood in a state of disrepair, its chains rusted and broken, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Mason's family faced challenges, yet they embraced their circumstances with resilience and determination, making the most of every little thing they possessed. "You've got a good head on your shoulders," Howard said, his sincerity evident. "Your mother must be proud." Mason beamed, casting a glance back toward the house. "She works hard. I just try to help out where I can." Howard paused, letting the boy's words sink in deeply. Memories of his own childhood flooded back, reminiscent of a home strikingly similar to this one. His parents had dedicated their lives to achieving financial stability, instilling in him the profound value of hard work and unwavering perseverance. As the years passed, he found himself drifting away from those cherished lessons, becoming ensnared in the relentless chase for wealth and status. Now, as he stood in this yard, a wave of nostalgia and regret washed over him, stirring deep emotions within. "I've been thinking about how I can help you and your family," Howard finally expressed, his voice filled with sincerity. Mason straightened up, his expression filled with apprehension. "We're all right, sir." "We don't require anything. It's not about requirement," Howard insisted passionately. "It's about what's right. You helped me and I want to repay your kindness." Before Mason could utter a word, his mother emerged onto the porch, her hands drying on a dish towel. "Mason, you need to hurry inside and clean up before lunch," she urged, her voice filled with a sense of urgency. Then her gaze moved toward Howard, filled with unspoken feelings. "Would you like to join us? It's nothing fancy, but you're more than welcome." Howard hesitated, unfamiliar with such an invitation, yet the genuine warmth in her voice left him no space for excuses. "I would truly cherish that," he said, eagerly stepping into the house behind her. Within the walls of the kitchen, the air was filled with the warm, inviting aroma of freshly baked bread, mingling with the rich scent of roasted vegetables, creating an atmosphere that stirred the soul. The table, though small, was surrounded by an array of mismatched chairs, yet it radiated warmth and was set with such heartfelt care. Howard settled into his seat, an overwhelming sense of discomfort washing over him as he found himself in his meticulously tailored suit, starkly contrasting with the modest environment around him. Mason washed his hands at the sink, then joined them, his warm smile radiating unwaveringly. As they savored their meal, Howard felt an irresistible pull towards their lively conversation. Mason passionately shared his experiences at school, the bonds he has with his friends, and his heartfelt aspirations of becoming an engineer. His mother shared heartfelt stories about the community, her voice filled with a deep pride as she spoke of the people who cared for one another. Howard listened with rapt attention, a deep warmth flooding through him that he hadn't felt in what seemed like an eternity. Despite all his wealth and success, his own home seemed to echo with a chilling emptiness, starkly contrasting with this humble abode brimming with warmth, laughter, and heartfelt connections. After lunch, as they cleared the table, Howard turned to Mason's mother with a sense of anticipation. "You've truly done an extraordinary job nurturing him," he said. "He's got more heart than most people I know." She smiled, her eyes sparkling with deep appreciation. "Thank you. He's a wonderful boy, but we've faced our challenges. We've learned to cherish the little things. Howard nodded, his thoughts swirling with possibilities. He hesitated, not wanting to intrude, yet he felt an undeniable urge to contribute something meaningful. This family had bestowed upon him a precious gift he hadn't recognized before, a profound reminder of what was truly significant in life. Howard departed from their home that afternoon, enveloped in a profound sense of clarity that had eluded him for years. As he drove back to his estate, a whirlwind of thoughts began to take shape. This was not merely about charity. It was a heartfelt tribute to the boy's incredible selflessness and the unwavering resilience of his family. Mason and his mother were worthy of so much more than just patch fences and worn furniture. They truly deserved a sense of stability and the recognition for the immense strength they displayed each and every day. The following morning, Howard dove into a flurry of calls, an overwhelming number of them. He connected with old colleagues, contractors, and suppliers, each conversation igniting a spark of hope. By midday, a plan was not just formed, it was alive, ready to take flight. Within a week, trucks began arriving at Mason's home, filling the air with anticipation. Howard stood on the sidewalk, clipboard in hand, guiding the renovations, while Mason and his mother looked on, their expressions a mix of disbelief and wonder. "You didn't have to do this," Emma said, her voice quivering with emotion as she watched the crew unload supplies, overwhelmed by the generosity unfolding before her. "We've managed fine on our own." Howard turned to her, his expression filled with sincerity. "You've done more than just manage. You have truly flourished. Yet you bestowed upon me a treasure I never realized was absent from my life. I want to give back." Mason stood beside his mother, his expression contemplative and more subdued than usual. Howard knelt slightly, locking eyes with him, a moment charged with unspoken intensity. "You opened my eyes, Mason. It's not about the money when it comes to helping others, it's about being there for them. I want to be there for you." In the weeks that followed, the house blossomed into something remarkable. The sagging porch was lovingly replaced with sturdy wood. The roof was carefully repaired, and the rusty swing set out back was joyfully replaced with a brand new one. Within those walls, a vibrant hue embraced the space, the floors gleamed with a radiant shine, and the kitchen transformed into a culinary haven adorned with sleek, modern appliances. Initially, Mason poured his energy into the renovations, hauling planks and clearing away debris with determination, but Howard firmly urged him to take a well-deserved break. "Your job," Howard said with a warm smile, "is to relish every moment of being a kid for just a little while longer." Yet Mason felt an irresistible pull to sneak out and witness the crew at work, his eyes sparkling with wonder as he watched them measure, cut, and construct. One of the workers, a robust man named Ray Dawson, caught sight of Mason's fascination and kindly invited him to assist in measuring the wood planks. Before long, Mason was asking questions about tools and construction, his excitement radiating around him. Howard watched from a distance, a deep sense of pride swelling in his chest. For the first time in years, he felt a profound connection to something meaningful, something that transcended his own existence. The boy's vibrant energy stirred within him a deep sense of longing for the dreams he once held dear, before life turned into a whirlwind of meetings and financial statements. One enchanting evening, as the sun gracefully sank below the horizon, the project approached its completion. The family gathered on the porch, their hearts swelling with awe at the remarkable transformation before them. Emma turned to Howard, her voice trembling with deep feeling. "This isn't just a house anymore. It's a place filled with warmth and love." "I don't know how we can ever thank you," Howard said, shaking his head, his voice gentle. "You already have. You brought back the essence of what life truly means: family, connection, and a profound sense of purpose. I believe I should be the one expressing my gratitude to you." The last day of the renovation project was nothing short of a joyous celebration. Neighbors gathered to witness the transformation, their faces beaming with delight as they brought thoughtful tokens, warm, freshly baked bread, jars of lovingly made jam, and even a cheerful potted plant. Mason's laughter rang out across the yard, a melody of pure happiness as he dashed around, proudly showcasing the new swing set and the beautifully painted rooms within. The house, once weary and faded, now burst with vitality. Howard stood on the front porch, leaning against the strong new railing, captivated by the scene before him. He hadn't experienced this depth of joy in years, pure, unrestrained joy that blossomed from witnessing others flourish. Mason's mother approached, a cup of iced tea cradled gently in her hand. With a warm smile, she extended it toward him. "You've done more than fix a house," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "You've ignited a spark of hope within us, and it seems you've discovered something profound for yourself as well." Howard nodded, savoring a sip. "I have," he admitted, his voice thick with realization. "I spent so many years chasing things I thought mattered. Money, status, influence. But none of it feels like this. It's as if all those pursuits were mere shadows compared to the light I've found now. None of it ever filled me the way this has." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mason stepped onto the porch, his spirit still vibrant. He turned to Howard, his gaze deep and contemplative. "Mr. Howard," he started, "I've been reflecting deeply on your incredible support for us. It's inspired me to aspire to do something similar one day. I yearn to help others just like you did." Howard gently rested a hand on Mason's shoulder, his voice unwavering. "You already are, Mason. Your kindness set all of this in motion. Don't ever lose that." The three of them sat together, their hearts swelling as they watched the sky transform from a warm gold to a rich, deep orange. The warmth of the day enveloped us, yet there was an even more profound warmth that radiated from our connection, a heartfelt gratitude and an unwavering sense of shared purpose. As the moment arrived for Howard to depart, Mason and Emma accompanied him to his car, their hearts heavy with the weight of goodbye. Howard drove away, the boy's beaming grin and his mother's tear-filled smile forever imprinted in his heart. This was not the conclusion he came to understand. This marked the thrilling start of an extraordinary new chapter in each of their lives. The weeks that followed unfolded with a cascade of changes. Mason's newfound curiosity about construction erupted into a vibrant passion. Howard organized a wonderful opportunity for him to immerse himself in the experience of shadowing the dedicated workers who had poured their hearts into renovating the house. Mason absorbed every ounce of knowledge, filled with an insatiable desire to learn. Howard irresistibly felt an overwhelming pull to Harlan, returning time and time again. Every visit resonated deeply, transforming into a heartfelt journey back to a place that felt like home. He finally felt a sense of belonging in their lives. He felt a profound connection to something greater than himself, and for the first time in years, a deep sense of contentment washed over him. The story concluded in a quaint little town brimming with warmth, where a single heartfelt gesture from a young boy rekindled the most profound lesson of life in an old man. It's not merely about what you possess, but rather the generosity of your spirit and the impact of your contribution. If Howard and Mason's story moved you deeply, we invite you to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our next uplifting tale. Every week we share heartfelt stories of kindness, deep connections, and invaluable life lessons that resonate from every corner of the globe. Click the subscribe button now and share this video with your loved ones, as a heartfelt story can often provide the much-needed hope someone needs. United, we have the power to radiate positivity and inspire one another, showing that even the tiniest acts of kindness can create monumental change.